Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a universal truth, one that echoes across history, myth, and reality. No action is without consequence. There are those who move through life recklessly, thoughtless, manipulative, deceitful. They believe that betrayal, deception, or malice will go unnoticed, unpunished, but the reality is far different. Because when they cross you, when they act against truth, against principle, against justice, they do not merely set obstacles in your path, they sign their own curse. Understand this, the world has a balance. Some call it karma, some call it divine justice, others call it simple cause and effect. But whatever name you give it, the principle remains the same. What they send out will return. You don't need to seek revenge. You don't need to lower yourself to their level. No. Your greatest weapon is your integrity, your patience, and your relentless pursuit of growth. Because while they are consumed by resentment, by their own pettiness, you will rise. And nothing is more devastating to those who tried to bring you down than seeing you become untouchable. They thought they could break you. They thought their actions would have no cost. But they were wrong. They cursed themselves the moment they acted unjustly. Because while the truth may be silent, it is never absent. And when the dust settles, they will have no one to blame for their downfall but themselves. The power of consequence. Every action we take is like a stone cast into a vast lake. The ripples spread outward, touching the edges of reality in ways we often don't anticipate. Some believe they can act recklessly, harming others, manipulating situations for their advantage, and somehow avoid the inevitable return of those ripples. But reality does not operate on wishful thinking. It functions on cause and effect, action and reaction. When someone chooses to deceive, to betray, or to harm, they are not merely affecting the person in front of them. They are establishing a pattern of behavior, a signature written into the very fabric of their future. They may believe they have won in the short term, that their actions have yielded them success, but time is the silent accountant that keeps track of every choice. And it does not forget. Life is not random chaos, it is structured, built upon principles that determine the trajectory of our existence. If you choose to act with malice, even if you get away with it once, twice, or 100 times, you have set in motion an inescapable chain of events. You have signed an agreement with reality itself, a contract that states that what you put out into the world will return to you, often in ways you never expected. We often hear the phrase, "you reap what you sow," but few truly grasp its depth. If someone sows dishonesty, they will eventually be surrounded by deception. If they cultivate destruction, their own life will crumble. No one, no matter how powerful, how clever, or how careful, escapes the judgment of their own actions. Even if no one else holds them accountable, the structure of existence will. Their own choices will become their downfall, and the consequences will arrive not on anyone else's schedule, but precisely when they are least prepared for them. So when someone crosses you, when they act in bad faith, when they choose to undermine you, know this: you don't have to do anything at all. The universe is already handling it. The moment they acted unjustly, they didn't just curse you, they cursed themselves. The boomerang effect. Every action we take is like a boomerang. We send it out, believing it has left us, only to find it returning with precise accuracy. Some people think they can throw dishonesty, manipulation, or betrayal into the world without consequence, as if their actions will dissolve into nothingness. But that's not how reality works. The energy they release, the choices they make, the harm they inflict, it all circles back. It may take time. Sometimes it returns in subtle ways. A missed opportunity, a loss of trust, they didn't see coming. Other times it comes back like a storm, sweeping through their life with a force they can't comprehend. But make no mistake, it always returns. People who act with deceit assume they are ahead of the game. They think their cleverness protects them from consequences. But deception is not intelligence, and manipulation is not wisdom. The most intelligent people understand that actions have a way of self-correcting, that justice, whether personal, social, or cosmic, has its own timetable. The harm they inflicted on others becomes the weight that eventually pulls them down. And here's the most fascinating part. The boomerang effect doesn't need your participation. You don't have to chase revenge. You don't have to lower yourself to their level. Their own choices set a trap they will inevitably fall into. The very qualities they use to harm others, lies, betrayal, cruelty, become the forces that isolate them, that erode their credibility, that bring them to ruin. The day they crossed you, they didn't just make an enemy. They made an agreement with consequence. And that's a force no one escapes. Integrity is a weapon. Strength isn't always about fighting back. It's not about meeting force with force or returning deception with retaliation. True strength, the kind that stands the test of time, is built on integrity. And here's the secret most people never realize. Integrity is a weapon sharper than any blade, more enduring than any scheme. When someone acts against you, when they lie, betray, or try to bring you down, they expect a reaction. They expect you to lash out, to lose control, to stoop to their level. Why? Because that validates them. It justifies their behavior. It allows them to paint you as the problem, to manipulate the narrative in their favor. But when you refuse to engage in their game, when you stand firm in your principles, you rob them of that power. Integrity is not passivity. It's not weakness. It's the discipline to let actions, not words, prove who is right. It's the ability to rise above the noise, knowing that the truth will reveal itself in time. People who act with integrity don't need to chase justice. It follows them. Meanwhile, those who betray, deceive, and manipulate are forced to spend their lives looking over their shoulders, waiting for the consequences of their own actions to catch up. The greatest form of revenge is not destruction, it's transcendence. It's proving that their actions were insignificant in the grand scheme of your life. It's showing that their betrayal only made you stronger, more focused, more unstoppable. And the best part? They will watch it happen. They will witness their own irrelevance unfold before them. So when they cross you, when they try to tear you down, remember this. Your silence, your patience, your refusal to play their game, those are the weapons that will undo them. Because in the end, their downfall was never in your hands. It was in theirs. From the very moment they chose to betray what is right. The silent judge. There is a force in life that does not argue, does not announce itself, and does not rush. It observes, it waits, and when the moment is right, it delivers judgment with precision. This force is time. It is the silent judge that ensures no action, good or bad, goes without consequence. People who act with dishonesty or cruelty believe they are getting away with something. They think that if there are no immediate consequences, there will be none at all. But what they fail to understand is that justice does not operate on their schedule. Just because they don't see the fallout today doesn't mean it isn't forming. The damage they have done, the trust they have broken, the people they have wronged, it all builds like cracks in the foundation of a house. They may continue walking forward, oblivious to the fact that the ground beneath them is weakening, until one day, without warning, it collapses. What's most fascinating is that this silent judgment does not require intervention. You don't need to expose them. You don't need to seek revenge. Their own actions set a timer, and when it reaches zero, the consequences unfold naturally. The very things they relied on, lies, manipulation, power plays, become their downfall. Relationships crumble, opportunities disappear, their credibility erodes, and when they finally realize what's happening, it's already too late. The ones who betray, deceive, and harm others sign their own fate the moment they make that choice. They are their own undoing, not because anyone is out to get them, but because reality itself does not allow such actions to go unanswered. Time may be silent, but it never forgets. It never lets an injustice go uncorrected. So when they crossed you, they didn't just betray you, they set their own judgment in motion. And the verdict? It was sealed the moment they chose the path of destruction, turning betrayal into strength. Betrayal, deception, and cruelty, these are the moments that test us. When someone crosses you, when they act with dishonesty or malice, the instinct is to fight back, to demand justice, to make them feel what they made you feel. But what if I told you that their betrayal is not your burden, but your greatest advantage? Think about it. Every time someone tries to bring you down, they are handing you an opportunity. They are revealing who they truly are, showing you who can and cannot be trusted. They are stripping away illusions, forcing you to grow, to sharpen your instincts, to refine your judgment. What seems like an attack is actually a lesson, one that, if understood correctly, will elevate you beyond their reach. You don't need revenge. You don't need to dwell on what they did. The real response, the ultimate counterattack, is transformation. It's becoming so strong, so disciplined, so untouchable that their betrayal becomes insignificant. They expected you to be broken, distracted, consumed by their actions. Instead, you rise, stronger, sharper, and more focused than ever before. And that is a reality they will have to live with. Their mistake was thinking that hurting you would benefit them. But in truth, they cursed themselves. Because while you turned their betrayal into wisdom, into strength, into fuel, they were left with nothing but the weight of their own choices. While you moved forward, they remained trapped in the very mindset that doomed them from the start. The day they crossed you, they thought they had won. But what they really did was sign their own downfall. Because nothing destroys a person faster than watching the one they tried to break become unstoppable.